Hey everybody, I'm glad you're here. I'm Suzanne and thanks for joining me today. In today's video, I'm going to do a portrait. Now, as most of you have probably know and you can't avoid by watching the news, we lost a very special lady. Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away last Friday, and I'm not a very political person. I won't lie. I don't really keep up with stuff. I really don't. I avoid politics like the plague, okay? But because I kept seeing everything that was on the news about her and watching all these documentaries, I couldn't help but develop this amazing appreciation for this woman and everything that she did for us as women and as humans, as far as recognizing equality. And yeah, so today's portrait is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's portrait. And so I hope you enjoy the process here. I'm going to take you through the steps of just how I started this piece. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it very much. Again, if you're my subscribers, thank you so much for being here. And if you're not, consider subscribing, please. And again, if you've got any questions or any ideas that that pop up in your head while you're watching this video, go ahead and write it, put it down. Go ahead and leave me a message, put it in the comment section and let me know what you're thinking. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this portrait of the notorious RBG. I am starting out by mixing my paint. I am basically using the Zorn palette, which is just the titanium white, yellow ochre, and cadmium red with ivory black. And when mixing these paints, I'll go ahead and mix two grays, basically a light gray and a dark gray. And then I will also mix a little bit of the cad red with the yellow ochre, so I have somewhat of an orange color. And then I start by mixing my tints by just adding white to each one of the colors that I've mixed. And then I start making my tones by first tone being using the light gray, like you see here, what I'm doing. And then I will take each color and mix the dark gray into each one of them. And that's my second tone. And then I will actually take the black and mix my shades. So I'll have quite a few colors to work from. Now that's not to say that I won't add some other colors to the palette eventually. One color that I pretty much, I have to have is either alizarin crimson or the one of the cooler reds. And because sometimes I can't get cool enough for lip tones and that type of thing, but that's it. Okay, now I'm in my usual setup for painting. I'm always pretty much stand. I've got my substrate here, I've got my photo reference, and obviously I have my palette and colors all right here. It's very handy. You can see I've got, if I needed to hold my brushes, I can have, a whole handful of brushes ready to roll. I like painting on large palettes like this, especially if I'm doing a really large piece and requires me to move around. If I'm doing one of these, these 5 foot by 6 foot canvases, having a small stationary palette it doesn't work for me because I do have to move around and I don't want to have to grab color over here and come over here to paint. So this right here, even though I'm doing this mainly just to show you for demonstration purposes, I'm doing a small piece. Generally, I probably wouldn't work with a palette this large for a small piece, but I have to say, so far, my experience with this has been pretty nice. And yeah, I'm kind of digging it. I am just going to go ahead and try to put a couple little strokes down just to see how, I just want to start getting my piece a little bit warmed up, so to speak. I'm just trying to, so yeah, I know you can't see it on that end, but yeah, this works nicely so far. I can say that I'm probably going to like this just fine. And again, the piece that I'm working on was inspired by the fact that I'm not a very political person, but the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you and the programs that you're seeing now depicting her life just really kind of made me want to know her more. I just never really got involved with, like I said, I'm not a political individual, but I have a feeling she was a really neat lady, and I would have liked to have known her. But yes, this is what we're working on today. So far, I'm going to give this New Wave painting palette a thumbs up. See, right there, there's my thumb. I'll give it a thumbs up, but I'll be able to talk a little bit more into the piece, okay? So stay tuned. Now, generally, I start off very loose when I am doing a portrait, or really any piece for that matter, and so there's not a lot of blending. I pretty much lay down the dark values as much as I can at first, and just try to familiarize myself with the overall piece. Now, I keep going back to my reference, as you can see, and it's important. My eye is glued on that reference, and I'm really just trying to get down blocks of color. So obviously it looks pretty scary when it goes down at first, but I am putting down the blocks of color, and later they'll be blended. But this is just, I put a really strong dark values in, and this is how it works for me. So you can see, you're just really seeing very little blending. Now I needed to get that dark background in just so I can start to tweak up shapes and edges. I like to be able to paint into a wet edge just to create that softness. But I will, you can see it's still not in the blending stage, and it looks pretty harsh. But it's almost like creating a carving or a sculpture. I need to see it like this to be able to discern the planes of the face. And trust me, the blending will occur, but a little bit later in the painting. Ah, the eyes. Now, this is where I usually have a lot of fun. And getting just the shapes of the eyes, keeping in mind that that heavy lid of an older person tends to create quite a distinct shadow. I can't help myself. I just have to be able to get that eye in. And I am also using the paint scraper just to kind of give me the edge of the eyeglasses. And that really does help me a lot because I'm really taking paint off there. But still, I'm just moving through this piece, and you're starting to get a sense of where color is becoming blended. And I often will use a softer brush, even though I'm doing the application generally with a synthetic. In this case, I'm using a synthetic mongoose brush. It's an Eclipse Filbert by Rosemary. I really love these brushes. This is probably one of my favorite brushes. But I'll go ahead and do the application with some of these brushes and then go back while the paint is wet and just blend with a really nice red sable brush. Okay, now you're seeing that I'm adding the secondary colors from the side of the face, and it's starting to have that blended edge, and you're getting a better feel of what's going on here. I have to say, I'm absolutely having a ball with this piece when I'm doing it. It's somewhat freeing when I try to capture a portrait in this manner because I'm actually working pretty quickly for me. I was able to accomplish the completion of this piece in basically less than 3 days. Now this is not a large piece. This is a 9 by 12, and the substrate that I'm painting on is a gessoed panel, so it's a super slick surface, and it does allow for nice detail. I do like working with these, but you can see I am probably what brush I was trying to look there. Yeah, now I am using, I think, a sable here. So just trying to get that blend in a little bit. But yeah, this is a lot of fun. I am having an absolute ball. As the piece progresses, I keep adding a little bit more detail, a little bit more detail, and this is where I have a ball. I absolutely love doing her eyes, and believe it or not, even her glasses, creating that little line of her bifocals. It's the silly things like that, but for somehow it just makes it more personal for me, and I just love it. And I'm just moving around the piece, and I'm obviously I need to get that paint on the edges and the background so I can create my soft edges, and that's going to happen here in a minute. But I love the detail, and I had fun with her ear too. I know it sounds silly, but there's certain aspects of a painting that I just have a ball with, and I'm laying in the hair, and I know that I know I need to have that soft edge. So you see I'm putting in the background paint here so that I can create my soft edges. I just keep moving around the piece. I'm all over the place, obviously. But how much fun can you absolutely have with a pair of glasses, right? I just had fun with it. Well, here I am flipping the painting, and I am using a sword brush to get these hairs in. And for me, because I'm right-handed, sometimes it's easier for me to turn a painting upside down to allow for my natural, hand movements to create the hair properly, so I can adjust the direction that it goes in. That feels better to me, and that's why I often will turn a painting upside down. And yeah, having a ball with the sword brush. Sword brushes are so awesome and can be used in so many different ways, but when it comes to doing hair, there is no substitute. As I'm coming closer and closer to completing this piece, it's usually when I start to really put in a lot more of the whiter, brighter highlights. Obviously, okay, this lady was really into her colors, and I found it interesting to learn about all the different colors she wore. This particular crocheted lace collar was supposedly one of her favorites. Again, because it's crocheted, the sword brush will come in handy again. It's again just like hair, it will come in handy. But yeah, this was fun. This was a lot of fun doing this collar. But now I'm really wrapping it up here. I'm getting close to the end, so I have to say this piece has been so much fun. And here you have it, my completed portrait of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What a delightful, delightful woman, and we have so much to really thank her for. Uh, it's amazing. What a legacy she's left behind. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. I have to say this was probably, for a non-commissioned portrait, I thoroughly enjoyed the process of doing Ruth Bader Ginsburg's portrait, and I hope you enjoyed watching. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and if you have any questions about anything that I went over, if you have questions about the palette that I used, brushes, anything, any kind of questions, please leave it in the comment section, and if there's something you'd like to see me paint, please let me know. And if you're like me, and are not a political person and really don't educate yourself on the different people that affect our lives through laws and what they worked for, please look up and learn more about Ruth Bader Ginsburg and do this for yourself. One of the comments, or one of the lasting quotes that she had that kind of stuck with me, is she wanted to leave a world that would be better for her daughters and granddaughters. And that really kind of rang true for me. And I just want to thank her for everything that she's done. Not just for women, but for all people, everybody. So again, look her up, learn a little bit more. And again, thank you for joining me. And if you are not my subscriber, please consider subscribing. And if you are my subscribers, thank you so much for being there. Give me some thumbs up if you like the video. And yeah, until next time from Kingsport, Tennessee, thanks so much for being here, and I'll see ya. Bye.